No more frequent urination at night for seniors. Eat these 10 foods. The best one is organic peas, and here's why. Edith Mayfield had always been a light sleeper. Even in her youth, the faintest creak of floorboards or the distant moan of the wind could tug her from the warmth of her dreams. She didn't mind back then. When you're young and bustling with energy, losing a few minutes of sleep seems trivial. But now, at 82, every hour of deep sleep felt like a precious relic from a forgotten time. For Edith, her restless nights had become dominated by one uninvited guest, her bladder. No sooner had she drifted into a peaceful slumber than a dull, insistent urge would drag her upright. She would swing her legs over the side of her bed, grope for her slippers, and shuffle down the hallway in the dark, one hand trailing along the wallpaper to steady herself. Sometimes she made the journey 5, 6, even 7 times in a single night. She knew she wasn't alone. Her friends at the senior center often laughed about it to hide the frustration. Margaret, her neighbor across the street, joked that her bathroom should have its own welcome mat, since she visited it more than any other room in her house. Walter, the retired postman, claimed he could make it from bed to toilet in total darkness without stubbing his toe, a skill perfected by necessity, not choice. But behind the humor, there was exhaustion, and beneath that, a creeping fear. Edith knew of people who had tripped during these nightly pilgrimages, breaking hips that never fully healed. She worried about losing her independence. She dreaded the day her children might insist on moving her to a nursing home because she could no longer manage alone at night. So, when her granddaughter Lila, newly certified as a nutritionist and brimming with ideas, arrived for a weekend visit, carrying a reusable grocery bag full of unfamiliar foods, Edith was skeptical but curious. "Grandma, it's time we do something about your nighttime adventures," Lila announced, unloading bags of organic peas, barley, pumpkin seeds, and a rainbow of fruits and vegetables onto Edith's kitchen table. Edith squinted at the pile. "Darling, I've lived through ration books and wartime recipes. I've eaten everything under the sun. What's a few peas going to do for me now?" Lila smiled and took her grandmother's wrinkled hands in her own. "These aren't just peas. They're your new best defense against that stubborn bladder. Trust me, we're going to reclaim your nights, one meal at a time." And so, a journey began. One that would transform Edith's restless nights into hours of uninterrupted dreams and awaken a sense of hope she had thought long buried under the weight of aging. Understanding the nighttime bladder battle. Before diving into the foods that would soon become Edith's allies, it helps to understand why seniors like her often become nocturnal wanderers. The medical term for excessive nighttime urination is nocturia. It's one of the most common sleep disruptors in older adults, affecting both men and women. But why does it happen? In men, the usual suspect is an enlarged prostate gland. As men age, this small organ at the base of the bladder can grow large enough to pinch the urethra, making it harder to fully empty the bladder during the day, which means more leftovers to spill out at night. For women, years of childbirth, fluctuating hormones during menopause, and the gradual weakening of pelvic floor muscles all play a part. When these muscles slacken, they offer less support to the bladder and urethra, leading to more leaks and urgent calls to the bathroom. Add in factors like poor sleep quality, certain medications, especially diuretics and blood pressure pills, and chronic conditions like diabetes or heart failure, and you have a recipe for multiple nighttime trips to the toilet. Doctors often prescribe medications or recommend surgeries, but these solutions can come with side effects. Some pills dry out the mouth, cause dizziness, or raise blood pressure. Surgeries can be invasive and may not solve the problem permanently. So what's left? For Edith, the answer was surprisingly simple: food. Or more precisely, the right foods eaten at the right times. Lila's plan didn't promise an instant cure, but it offered gentle, steady improvement, and a chance for Edith to regain control without relying on yet another prescription bottle. The star of the show, organic peas. At first glance, peas seem unremarkable. To Edith, they were the mushy green lumps she had reluctantly swallowed during wartime dinners, boiled until they lost their shape and most of their flavor. But organic peas, fresh or frozen, never canned, are different. They're packed with plant protein, fiber, vitamins like K and C, and antioxidants that protect aging cells. Most importantly, they help stabilize blood sugar levels, which is a hidden but powerful factor in nocturia. High blood sugar means the kidneys must work overtime to filter out the excess glucose, resulting in more urine production, especially troublesome at night. By slowing the release of sugar into the bloodstream, peas help the kidneys rest. Edith started with a simple half cup at dinner, lightly steamed and sprinkled with fresh mint. Within a month, she was down from 6 nighttime bathroom visits to just 2 or 3. Encouraged, she experimented. Peas mashed with garlic, peas tossed into her barley soups, peas pureed into a light green dip for whole grain crackers. She even began to joke with her friends, saying, "If you see me in green lipstick next week, you'll know I've gone full pea." Pumpkin seeds, tiny but mighty. Next on Lila's list were pumpkin seeds, which Edith found delightful and easy to adopt. Rich in zinc and healthy fats, they are renowned for supporting prostate health in men and easing overactive bladder symptoms in women. Edith poured a small handful into a porcelain dish by her favorite reading chair. Each evening, as she read her mystery novels, she nibbled on these seeds instead of the sugary biscuits she once favored. Walter, ever curious, asked if he could try them too. A month later, he swore to Edith that he was no longer waking up at midnight, desperate for relief. Whether placebo or genuine, Edith didn't care. The seeds were delicious, and her friend was grateful. Pears, nature's sweet remedy. Edith's sweet tooth had always been her downfall. Cookies, pastries, and boxed puddings were comforting but terrible for her blood sugar and, by extension, her bladder. Lila introduced her to pears, juicy, mildly sweet, and low in acid. Acidic fruits like oranges, pineapples, and even apples can irritate the bladder lining. Pears, on the other hand, are gentle. Edith sliced 1 pear each afternoon, enjoying it slowly with her knitting. The natural fiber in the fruit also kept her digestion smooth, which was crucial because constipation can press on the bladder, worsening urgency and frequency. She delighted in poaching them with cloves and cinnamon, feeling like an old-fashioned cook preparing a rustic dessert. Barley, the forgotten grain. Barley was the dark horse in Edith's new pantry. Most people think of it as livestock feed or beer ingredient. But barley is a gentle grain full of soluble fiber called beta-glucan, which helps lower cholesterol and stabilize blood sugar. For Edith, barley soup became her signature dish. She simmered it slowly with carrots, celery, and a pinch of thyme. This hearty meal filled her belly and left her feeling satisfied without needing that extra cup of bedtime tea that used to come back to haunt her bladder. Barley porridge also found its way into her breakfast rotation, sometimes topped with a swirl of local honey or a handful of berries. Oats, an old friend, made new. Edith had eaten oatmeal for years, but under Lila's watchful eye, she traded her instant packets for hearty, steel-cut oats. Less processed and lower on the glycemic index, these oats helped keep her blood sugar steady throughout the day. A steady blood sugar means less work for the kidneys at night and fewer signals to empty the bladder. Edith discovered countless ways to dress up her oats, with a sprinkle of cinnamon, a few chopped nuts, or slices of ripe banana. She even began hosting a porridge morning at the senior center once a week, where her friends would gather, each bringing a topping to share. It became a beloved ritual, replacing pastries and sugary cereal with warmth, conversation, and a meal that truly loved their aging bodies back. Bananas, sweet balance. Bananas worried Edith at first. Too sugary, she thought. But Lila taught her the magic of moderation. Half a banana in the afternoon gave her a dose of potassium, which balanced the sodium in her body and kept excess fluid retention at bay. This balance was critical because fluid trapped in the legs during the day can sneak back into circulation at night when a person lies down, filling the bladder just when deep sleep should be settling in. By helping her body shed this extra fluid earlier, bananas played a subtle but meaningful role. Edith would sometimes mash her half banana onto a piece of whole grain toast with a thin smear of almond butter. It felt like an indulgence but kept her bladder calm. Sweet potatoes, the comfort food. Here are few foods comfort quite like a warm, buttery sweet potato. Edith found she didn't even miss her old white potatoes once she switched. Sweet potatoes are loaded with fiber and magnesium, which helps calm muscle spasms, including those in the bladder wall. One Sunday she roasted slices with rosemary and olive oil, serving them alongside baked chicken. Her grandson, a notorious picky eater, asked for seconds, declaring it better than French fries. For Edith, that was all the endorsement she needed to make sweet potatoes a twice-weekly staple. Yogurt, gut health, bladder health. Good digestion means less pressure on the bladder. An inflamed or imbalanced gut can throw off everything, from immune function to bladder sensitivity. Lila made sure Edith switched from sweetened fruit yogurts to plain, unsweetened varieties, rich in live cultures. Edith topped hers with a spoonful of ground pumpkin seeds and fresh berries. She even learned to make overnight oats with yogurt, giving her busy mornings a break, while her bladder enjoyed the calm benefits of probiotics. Cucumber, refreshing hydration. Staying hydrated was another lesson Edith had to relearn. She used to fear drinking during the day, thinking it would just make her bladder busier. In truth, drinking plenty during daylight and cutting back after dinner is the better way. Cucumber slices in her water gave it a mild, refreshing taste without adding acidity or caffeine. Edith sometimes mixed cucumber with mint leaves for a spa-like treat, sipping contentedly in her garden as birds flitted among her flowers. Lentils, the satisfying staple. Last but far from least, lentils found a permanent place in Edith's kitchen. Easy to cook, affordable and endlessly versatile, lentils delivered protein and fiber without the heavy fats that might irritate her digestion. Her signature dish became a red lentil stew with turmeric and ginger, both gentle anti-inflammatories. Neighbors raved about it at potlucks. Edith secretly took pride in knowing that each shared bowl brought a few more friends closer to restful sleep. The Senior Center Transformation. Word of Edith's newfound nights spread quickly through her community. Soon her friends were swapping cookie tins for pumpkin seed jars, organizing group shopping trips to the local farmers market, and comparing lentil recipes at Bridge Club. Margaret, who once laughed about needing a bathroom mat, reported that she too now slept nearly 5 hours straight before needing to get up, an unthinkable miracle 6 months ago. Walter, the retired postman, bragged to anyone who'd listen about his pea soup and the power of cucumbers. He even joked that he might start a cooking class for men called bladder bosses. These small changes rippled out beyond sleep. Well-rested seniors felt more energetic during the day, more eager to take morning walks, more cheerful in conversation. For some, it meant lower blood pressure. For others, fewer mood swings. All because a few humble foods reshaped their nights. A few practical secrets. Edith also discovered that habits matter as much as food. She kept her dinner light and early, by 6 in the evening if possible. Heavy, salty dinners made her thirstier and her bladder busier at midnight. She made her last cup of tea a mild herbal brew, never caffeinated and never too close to bedtime. She propped her feet on a small stool in the afternoon, which helped fluid drain from her legs naturally. She trained herself to go to the bathroom one final time right before brushing her teeth, even if she didn't feel the urge yet. And she embraced her new favorite bedtime snack, half a pear, a spoonful of yogurt, and a whisper of honey, far more bladder-friendly than cookies or chocolate. Edith's quiet victory. By her 83rd birthday, Edith had cut her nightly bathroom trips down to once, sometimes not at all. She marveled at how something so simple, food, could succeed where so many pills had failed. She knew life would still have its challenges. She still checked her hallway for tripping hazards. She still kept a soft nightlight plugged in, just in case. But her fear of the long, lonely trek to the bathroom had faded. When her friends asked how she did it, she smiled and lifted her shopping basket. "It's all in the peas, darlings, and the seeds and the barley and the rest. But mostly, it's about believing you can sleep like you used to." A last word of wisdom. If Edith could whisper advice to every senior reading her story, she would say this: the body listens to what you feed it. Treat it gently. Choose foods that love you back. Trust the small changes. Be patient with yourself. She would also say, quite firmly, that not every night will be perfect. There will still be evenings when stress or too much water too late will interrupt the best-laid plans. But over weeks and months, the gentle power of these foods and the care you put into your habits can add up to a sleep you thought was lost forever. Medical disclaimer. This video essay is intended for informational and educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Results will vary from person to person. Individuals with chronic conditions such as diabetes, kidney disease, heart failure, or other serious health concerns should consult with their licensed healthcare provider before making changes to their diet, fluid intake, or medication. Do not disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking medical treatment because of something you have read here. Any sudden changes in urination patterns, pain, or other concerning symptoms should be evaluated by a qualified healthcare professional promptly. The author and publisher disclaim any liability for decisions made based on this content. Viewer discretion and personal judgment are advised.